You ever ask yourself what the single best way is to talk to people? We're talking anyone. We're talking strangers, coworkers, people you like, people you don't like. Like, what do you talk about in order to start a conversation where both of you are engaged and both of you actually care what you're talking about? Well, in this video, I want to go over what I believe is the single best strategy on how to talk to people. The answer is triangulation. And in this video, I want to go over what triangulation is, why it works, and why it's so good. And then we're going to go over different types of triangulation. And I'll provide a ton of examples so that you can start implementing this in your life and talk to more people. Okay, so what is triangulation? Why is it like the single best strategy ever? Well, I want you to imagine a triangle, right? There's 3 points to a triangle. The 2 points on the bottom are you and the other person. And the 3rd point on top is the common topic that you're talking about. So triangulation, in a nutshell, is picking things that both of you have in common to talk about. Hence, like the triangle. So that's it. If I was to summarize it in 2 words, it's just common topics. Find common topics to talk about. Now, if you pick something that both of you care about, and this is really important, like it's really important when you pick a common topic that it's something that both of you guys care about. Because if it's something that you genuinely don't care about, it will show. The conversation will fall flat. Like, have you had a conversation where you ask someone, it's like, oh, did you watch that show too? And they're like, no. What do you do? Where do you go with that convo? So the reason it works so well is because it gives you material to keep on going. And if you guys both care about the topic that you started the conversation with, you're just gonna keep on going. It's very easy to get into conversational flow if you start off with something that both of you care about. So let's jump into the different types of triangulation and we'll throw down a bunch of examples. So the first type of triangulation is triangulation with nouns. So these are simply just physical objects. And I want to start off with this because this type of triangulation is the easiest type of triangulation to first implement because it's as simple as you see something and you talk about it. It's very easy. It's very simple. All you need to do is just use your eyes and your mouth to speak and you're good to go. So a couple of examples from my own personal life that I wrote down here. Water bottle. So I was in the elevator with someone and they were holding a water bottle and wearing gym shorts. And I was like, oh, you going to the gym? What gym are you going to? Right? Because I noticed the water bottle, right? I didn't directly talk about the water bottle, but I just knew he was going to the gym, right? So that's a bit more of an indirect approach to triangulation with nouns. A more direct approach was yesterday I went to dance class and I saw a girl with a water bottle that had a quote on it. Like she printed out the quote and put it on her water bottle. And I just asked about that because like, have you seen my Twitter? I love quotes. So I was like, oh, what does that quote in your water bottle say? So that's an example of a direct noun triangulation opener, whatever you want to call it. More examples. Let's fly through them. If someone has a shirt with text on it, you can say, oh, what does that say on your shirt? This is where caring about the topic really matters because if it's a band and you don't know anything about the band, well, it's like, okay, they're going to tell you the band and then that's it. You can think of creative ways to continue that convo, but it's just a lot easier if you actually talk about something that you care about. So if it's a band that you actually know, you can be like, oh, is that band on your shirt? And then another one is compliments. So if you compliment someone on their clothing, then that's also a form of triangulation, especially if you're into clothing. You can talk about fashion. You can be like, oh, I really like your dress. Where did you get that? If you are into dresses and fashion and stuff. So those are all a bunch of examples concerning triangulation with nouns. So part 2, like the second type of triangulation, is triangulation with environments. So we're thinking about common topics here. What happens when you see someone and they don't have anything physical or anything that you can see that you have in common with them? You talk about the environment. So the environment could be anything. It could be an event that you guys are both together at. You have that in common. If you're in school, the common environment that you have is that you're both in school. If you're both in the same class, the common environment that you have is that you're both in the same class. If you're both at a birthday party for a friend that you know, the common environment is the birthday party. So with all those examples of common environments, let me go back to more examples. I've personally used all of these. How did you do on that test last week? It was so hard, man. I think I did kind of shitty. That's if you have a common class. How did you hear of this event, right? Very easy one to start off with if you're at the same event. So how do you know this person if you're at an event where you both know the same person? So this is a social gathering, a birthday party. And if you're at a bubble tea shop, you can say, hey, what bubble tea did you order? What flavor bubble tea? I love taro bubble tea. So if someone says taro, I'm like, I love that shit. So those are all examples of different environments that you can use or talk about using triangulation based on environments. So let's move on to the third one. The third type of triangulation is the human experience. So what if you say, okay, listen, I hear what you're saying so far, but there's nothing that they have that I can see that I can talk about, and we're not in a common environment. Then what do I talk about? Then what I'll say is you still do have something in common. You're both human beings on this planet, and human beings go through life and have emotions and have feelings. So that's what I mean when I say the human experience. Everyone has a human experience with common aspects to it. Like, you guys are both living human beings. So let me throw down some examples to really drive this point home. A word of caution before I start. Usually with these types of openers, you wouldn't normally use them on someone that you barely know, because they do tend to be a bit more deeper, but they're great for second conversations or friends that you already know that you want to get to know better. So examples. I was in a car ride once, and one of my friends just asked me, so what's your biggest insecurity? Wow, that's a banger. But you know, it's a good example, right? It's like there's no common physical object, there's no common environment. It's just a deep question out of the blue. Everybody has insecurities, something that you can talk about. Again, wouldn't recommend this for a stranger unless you're experimenting or just open to talking about that stuff. But yeah, second example is, hey, do you ever feel like dropping everything and living in the woods? So that's something that I've thought about, and I feel like a lot of people can relate, because sometimes you do the same thing over and over in life and you just want to change. So that's another example. Another one is, are you excited about going to Japan? Because I recently went there and it changed my life. So this is a bit of a combo wombo, because like with the other examples, you're kind of combining things you already know about the person, right? If you're asking this question, then I'm assuming that you already know the person's going to Japan. But traveling and having life-changing experiences, again, all part of life, not really a physical object, not really a common event. So those are all different types of examples, and you can see that the order that I put these in is like easy to difficult, because with something like the human experience, you kind of have to think about it a bit more and be more creative. And over time, the idea as you use these is they become so natural that you don't even think about, oh, this is triangulation, but it's a noun or a physical object, or, oh, this is triangulation, but it's an event. It's just like, what do we have in common? Like, that's all triangulation is. Like, if I don't break it down like so logically, it's just, what do we have in common? And so go forth and talk to people, bring up things that you actually genuinely care about, and you'll just notice that your conversations flow so much better. And by the way, if you want to practice this, you can do like a simulation in your head. Just go for a walk. Go for a walk. Notice things about people. This person's wearing glasses. I used to have glasses, but I got LASIK. That's something that I can talk to them about. Just go for a walk and try to implement this in your mind as you're like walking about and finding people and noticing things about people, or go sit in a park and do the same thing. It's a great way to practice this stuff if you want to get better at it. And yeah, that's it for this video. I hoped you learned something. As always, go out there, talk to someone, meet some new people, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. Oh, by the way, I know what you're gonna ask next. Okay, this is great. I can start a conversation now, but how do I know that I'm not coming off as creepy? Well, I have a video that talks about that. It's gonna come up right here. If it's not in this section, I will flip the video so that it is. This video here might not work because it will be unlisted. There's a link in the description if you want to see it. Anyways, peace, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.